Dr. Batra, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure and privilege to address you. First of all, I would like to compliment Dr. Batra and the entire BW team for introducing this subject 3 years ago, I think, and this is the third event in this category, and I am certain that it normally takes around 5 to 6 years for it to gain momentum and to move forward. And I have been part of many such initiatives over the years, and I am certain this subject will also gain importance and grow. As many of us in the industry have realized. To emphasize that, if I were to look at the past 3 years, close to 30 months, I would say, more than 60% of my time is going into supply chain. Then you can imagine, which used to be that more than 60% used to be in sales and marketing related subject I would spend, but it had shifted over the years, basically because of the supply chain realignment. You know that the China is no longer a destination which we can rely on. And as an air conditioning refrigeration company, we relied on mostly China and Far East for quite a bit of supplies. Some even finished goods at some point of time till 2020. Post that, even steel or copper or zinc, aluminum, electronics, and many components came from, I must say, these destinations. And over the years, it was a big job to redesign the supply chain. In the process, the time that is being spent in order to redefine, many of you here will know the non-tariff barriers that exist and new regulations that are getting introduced. I know air conditioning refrigeration industry, I know consumer durable industry, so I am taking the liberty to use that as an example of the complexities one navigates through the professionals like you or professional firms like EY, who happens to be the knowledge partner here, with whom also we work on one particular subject related to supply chain. Before that, what is important to understand is I'm privileged to be part of an industry which is growing at a CAGR over 20%, and we clearly witnessed 25% growth last year, and this year the growth will be over 25%, and the visibility is more than 20% in the coming years, basically because of the penetration gap and the operating costs coming down due to energy labeling and other innovations. The third thing is connected with the heat or the climate change phenomenon itself. So like Salil mentioned in some other context, it took close to the air conditioning industry, you can say, really is from 80s, and if you look at it over the past 44 years, it took the industry in a room air conditioner to cross 10 million. This 10 million to 30 million is going to happen within 6 year time. 2030 projection is around 30 million. So if you look at many categories, it is this scale. Blue Star itself, it took 80 years for us to cross $1 billion USD, and we will be $2 billion USD revenue company by 2027 itself. So it is within another 3 or 4 years we are doubling. So that is the growth of the industry. The scale is the first part of it. The second one is connected with the big challenge for an industry like this is the sustainability related regulations, the energy efficiency or the refrigerant related regulations on both ozone depletion and global warming, or the e-waste related regulations. All these have an impact on the supply chain itself. The third one is connected with the smart technologies that have come in, like today in an air conditioner. Typically, a compressor used to be the heart of the system. It's no longer the case. It is the electronics or the drive, and more into artificial intelligence. So electronics becoming an important component there. The next one is the speed with which you have to do that. The regulations are changing very fast, and the market is growing, and the opportunities are not going to wait. Therefore, you need to do with great speed and creating local supply chains in the process. So there is excitement on one side, and there is chaos. As you can imagine, suddenly the supply chain was stopped from China, and here locally you need to develop. That comes with some cost. One, whether sufficient capacity is available in the country. Two, whether Indian suppliers will be able to deliver at the cost at which the consumers were used to. So you don't have the liberty to increase the prices. The third part is connected with the quality standards with which the local vendors will be able to deliver. So I can take one example of a simple item like copper. It's a copper tube which is inner grooved copper. This copper was not manufactured in India at all. It was entire, whomsoever it is, whether multinational or Indian companies, we depended on China. At some point of time, it was Vietnam which started supplying. It is the same Chinese manufacturers started setting up factories in Vietnam. The entire air conditioning refrigeration industry started getting the tubes from Vietnam. And then there is a non-tariff barrier that is getting introduced. And we were getting under a free trade agreement, under a concessional duty. And the government's position is whether sufficient value addition under the rule of origin is taking place in Vietnam or not. That can take place. Many of you will be aware it is the LME price versus the copper tube price, and obviously 30% value addition will not take place. It can take place only if it is mined there. If you have to be mining there, it is from Indonesia or so. But then you have to match the cathode's barcode with the supplies that have come in, consignment basis. And then you have to be proving that the required value addition took place. As this dispute is on, the industry is giving bank guarantees and clearing it. A company like Blue Star this year would have given around 75 crores of bank guarantee, and the entire industry would have given close to around 700 to 800 crore rupees of bank guarantee. And if you are to be looking at from the beginning, because if there is a dispute, it is retrospective, and it would obviously amount to more than 3,500 crores of liability the industry is sitting on. In the meanwhile, there is a QCO, which you will be familiar with, non-tariff barrier, where the certification will have to take place. All other copper can come, is already under that. This inner grooved copper, government persuaded some local manufacturers like Hindalco to set up, and they are in the process of setting up. And for them, the copper will have to come from a new copper supplier, Adani Copper. And you can imagine this whole copper is not even 3% of air conditioner cost, but if that copper is not there, the entire manufacturing will come to a standstill. In this, you have to imagine, in this example, the plight of the supply chain managers. The thing is, they are, this is one example. Every item, I don't think they have been sleeping. Generally, the sales and marketing professionals enjoyed the privilege in the companies. They can put pressure on the entire ecosystem. I think the sales and marketing guys were paid much more than any other function in the industry, the entire industry, whichever be the industry it is. And but the pressure on the supply chain professionals to navigate through this, they keep the supply chain moving, handle the disputes related to here he will have to be getting the barcode written in some Chinese language in their own computer system somewhere in Vietnam to be matched with what was mined somewhere in Indonesia to be bill of lading wise filing is being done by supply chain team. When I mentioned E&Y, I think E&Y is working with us to demystify these records of now if there is a liability, the supply chain guys will be answering that this is how it is, and the pressure is on them to prove. At the same time, to go ahead and find the local supply chain development, which will be for the first time in fact in the entire consumer durable industry. Many items are being made in India for the first time by many vendors. And Salil mentioned about China plus one, and I am not sure that whomsoever coined that word. I am not very sure at all that we do have operations in Europe and United States. We were drawn into that because of this China plus one, thinking that everybody is waiting for India to come there. I am not very sure a global supply chain manager sitting somewhere is waiting for India. For them, who is supplying that product at that price is very important, and I don't think India is there yet in terms of either cost or the price, the quality, and we have a long way to go. And in that context, the pressure to keep the cost lower, again dictated by the customers, dictated by the market, and that burden again. Let's say there is a TCM program or the margins has to be managed. The pressure is on the supply chain team. Of course, it is on the research and development team as well, but it is much more on supply chain team. So the good news is there is a lot of things that are happening. Lot needs to be done. And first time I know that I realized, and many boardroom colleagues of mine have realized, and whom I do not know would have realized that in the history of Indian industry, the role of supply chain is most critical. At this point, this is the realization. When you look at the consulting firms, again, this is the area where huge amount of work demand will be there, and that is the one. If you walk into the boardrooms, this subject is the most talked about topic. contributed by multiple things, the scale and the speed with which it is to be done, and the supply chain disruptions that are happening. And India has arrived in manufacturing sector after many decades of waiting, and in that context, it is all the more important that the supply chain will play the most crucial role in making or breaking a manufacturing company's P&L and the balance sheet. I'm including balance sheet for the simple reason. Yesterday there was one article that appeared in which they picked up, Economic Times picked up what I spoke in my earnings call to the investors, where I stated this in terms of transparency that look, the priorities for the coming quarter, obviously the earning calls they are going to ask, and my great concern is connected with the supply chain. That's the statement I made, and it may be a compressor, it may be a copper tube, it may be electronics, and value terms it may not be much, but it is going to stop my production if it is not happening. And the summer preparation, where we anticipate 30 to 35% growth, will depend on that. In that context, we are pre-buying. That's more than what we will normally do for a company which is around 11,000 crores turnover. More than 500 crores of additional working capital is being pumped in order to buy the material, because locally sufficient capacity is not there. If it is imported, somebody's QCO is expiring, so therefore we are pumping in the working capital. It's a huge cost. That's why I said P&L and balance sheet. Now the supply chain guys, when they come and present it, I know how tough it is for them to get that money sanctioned. So he is saying this material may not be available, a semiconductor I have to buy for next 18 months or 12 months, let me invest. And the first time the boardrooms will hear this, what is this you are investing in working capital? And obviously I think E&Y colleagues will be there, so can we consult somebody? So E&Y, PwC, McKinsey, BCG. And I suppose even for them this will be a new thing, that there is some QC standing. And my frustration is many board members do not understand what is QCO. And you can see I have been losing hair very fast in only explaining this supply chain problem in the boardrooms. And Dr. Bhadra mentioned that he can grow hair. And I would like to know the trick. And the picture that appears is at least 5 years old. And so with that, I have all the admiration for the supply chain experts and professionals. You are doing a great job, and your job is going to become much more complex in the next 3 years, because I have faith that India will grow. Whether it will become part of China +1, I do not know, but there is a lot of work that needs to be done, and the entire industry will depend on you, and you have a bright future. There are few ladies here. Again, we have old economy company like us. I think we wake up to gender diversity when it comes to some BRSR report writing or whatever it is. And then in this battle, we do identify the positions now to dictate to the team that I will fill it in only with women candidates. So obviously finance or HR figures and supply chain figures there. And I think this is one area where women can shine, and I think it is the responsibility of the industry also to ensure that more and more women employees are deployed. And when it comes to campus recruitment, again, we did a dipstick with regard to, first of all, air conditioning industry, nobody prefers. And we do EPC contracting, like a hotel like this or airports, and nobody comes for that also. Room air conditioners being a consumer durable, it's better. But when we look at the function wise, again, from the campus, there is no great interest that I want to become a supply chain professional. So there is a collective responsibility to be also showcasing this as an important exacting industry, and I suppose the media will play an important role in that context. We are grateful to you, and the community should be grateful to you. It was a pleasure being part of the jury. I thank the jury members for making available their time. It was on a Saturday, and because I have to leave at 2, I was also pushing, I think, and the BW team for doing a lot of groundwork. So all the best to you. May God bless you. Thank you.